on this car. Again, heavy on the brakes now in towards turn 10. You could see the medical car just ahead as well, so almost being lapped at this stage. Again, yellow in sector 2, so it's not been the tidiest lap at the moment. But it was a 2:05.251 at last time out for safety car 3. What will it be this time around, as there's only 4 more corners to go through turns 13 now? We get past the medical car through turns 14 and 15 now. The RACC chicane out of there now through the DRS activation zone of zone 2 onto the start-finish line. And what's it going to be for safety car 3? And it's only fractionally slower this time around. It's a 2:05.227 from the safety car. And lap 5 of 66. So there's a look at the sector zone. So all yellow sectors, not the quickest, no purple or greens. But best lap, you can see there, was only about half a tenth faster last time around. So we'll blame the heat. That's what we'll do. We'll blame that it's too hot out there, the tyres are overheating, and he just can't get the power down where he needs it, because the back end of that car, as you're seeing it once again, here's Norris.
Gap to Leclerc is 2.9.
Yeah, just let me drive. I'm flat out, so I'm doing what I can.
Norris there again with his standard response of he's going as fast as he can, and you know, he's had a fantastic season so far this year, and you know, they're running that new Mercedes power unit in the car, and they've had so far this year a fantastic season from later seasons. They're on a great comeback this year for McLaren. Back with the safety car now, though, and another look at the sector times from their best laps. You can see it was a 42.250 in this sector. Last time it was a 41.9, so it was a little bit faster in the previous sector this time around, but he struggled in the first 2 sectors. That is what's caused the lap to go awry. But of course, I suspect, I don't know how much track action there will have been around this circuit over the winter break, so I'm not sure what's been racing here. So the track very green, I suspect, at the moment, and that's why we're seeing these fairly sluggish times, and that because, of course, you know, the fact that an F1 car can lap this track in a 1:18 and we're plus 2 minutes at the moment, that just shows you the speed difference that these cars have got. You can see there the medical car, I say what, medical car's pushing it as well. That back stepping out there out of the final corner of turn 16 through the speed trap here. And in towards turn 1 once more. And you can see there on the outside, that line, you can see there, the extra road. Now they have to go through the little sausage chicane there. They've sort of built that extra road, but they've put a sausage curb right over the top of it. I'm not sure why they've done that, but yeah, so drivers will have to negotiate round the sausage curb and then re-enter the circuit past that cone there. A nice wide shot of the turn 4 hairpin there. Luke, just while you were speaking to me there, I could hear myself back quite clearly, and you were quite quiet. Again, a nice kick of oversteer for the safety car. There we go. That was much better. Yeah, much better. A much slower time this time around. Apparently we're 3 minutes 14 into this lap, and we're only at turn 9, so something tells me we slowed right down, and we're enjoying the oversteer moments. Yeah, you can see there he's backed right out of the lap. So on the back straight in the first DRS activation zone. And if my ears don't deceive me, that's the medical car coming past us right now. Oh, we just missed it, cut away from the shot. So back to the safety car here that has eased off. Yes, I was right there, medical car there just in the background. You can see slowly catching up the safety car, and I suspect we're cooling these tyres down because it's been quite a hefty little session here. In towards the chicane, and definitely easing off through this section here, but oh, and actually pulling into the pit lane, so not continuing with the lap, abandoning that lap and entering the pit lane here, which of course we've seen many incidents happen at the pit lane entrance here. I can't remember off the top of my head. Was it Schumacher who crashed at that one as well? I think was it Barrichello? It could have been Barrichello many years ago who went a little bit fast into there. Here's a replay then of the medical car strutting its stuff with the back end of that stepping out. And definitely showing the safety car how it's done. This was earlier on with the safety car. And you see there a very interesting concentrating look there on Maud's face, but back out on track with the FIA medical car. We're heading through turns number 4 here, and we almost didn't get out of turn 4 with the back end of that car stepping out violently out of the hairpin into the heavy braking zone. This is where we saw the safety car have a good oversteer moment. Are we going to see it from the medical car? Only a little bit, so a little bit more tame on the throttle through the turn 5 hairpin into the braking zone of turn 7. A very inviting looking corner, but surprisingly slow on exit, I would say, but it's still very fast. Through turns 9, onto the back straight, and as far as I can tell, this car also doesn't have DRS. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it doesn't look like it does. There we go. Maybe if the boot opens, that would be a DRS engagement there, but boot does not open, so clearly no DRS on this car. Out of turn 11, and again a nice kick of oversteer. Seems to be the favourite. I think they're deliberately putting some rubber down on the track there. It seems like it as they strut the stuff here again out of turns 12 into the final section of the track, and looks like very much easing off through here. Are we going to see the medical car now peel into the pit lane? I suspect we might. Are we? No, he's not. He's staying out. He's just eased off slightly. There we go. So back onto the start-finish straight. And a much tamer running through there. And I suspect both the safety and medical car are going to need a new set of tyres before the rest of this weekend starts. Well, we start the clock and we will see what sort of time the medical car can do around this circuit. 205.127 from the safety car. Can we better it in the estate car here around this beautiful circuit? 16 corners in length, 4.675 kilometers in length. And of course on race day, that's definitely not the quickest way. It's the coolest way around that corner. Definitely not the quickest way. But again, down the small straight in towards turn number 4, and you can see there 8 seconds slower than the safety car through the first sector. But I have to say the medical car certainly did it better. Here's Bottas.
This tyre is really resilient. You can push it to the end. You're fastest man on track.
Hunt him down, Valtteri, your quickest car.
Both Mercedes more aggressive at turn 8, mid-exit turn 8, so start to adopt that, Max.
There we go. So the ever-fierce battle between of what we're expecting to see throughout this 2021 season, the Mercedes and Red Bull scrap for the championship. And of course, it was very close through Imola, but Hamilton managed to just keep hold of the championship lead with 1 point after setting the fastest lap near the end of the race. The safety car making its way back out onto the circuit. I suspect a fresh new set of tyres. I'm sure they didn't change them that quick, but I suspect they're not the nicest looking tyres at the moment. I'm not sure how long the tyres would last, but well, there we go. Safety car has been deployed, so he's not out for fun this time. He's out to slow everyone down. Now, through turns number 3, again we go. Apparently there's been an incident out on circuit. I'm sure there hasn't. I'm sure the medical car is still going around strong, so it is only the 2 cars out on circuit. But it does sound great, just listening to that beautiful engine. can only hear the birds after that. As soon as I said it, let's listen to the engine, we couldn't hear it. We can have probably another hear of it now. Let's see. Oh, beautiful sound from that Mercedes AMG safety car, the V8 rumble. You can hear, and that wasn't the V8 rumble, that's a helicopter going over the circuit, so a different type of rumble from a different engine, I would say. In towards the hairpin again of turn 10. Ever an opportunity moment for an overtake, and we've seen many incidents at that hairpin. But I have to say, looking back, my favourite motorsport sort of moment at this circuit would definitely have to be the 2009 MotoGP race, where Lorenzo and Valentino Rossi for the last 3 laps went nose to tail on their Yamaha machines, with an absolutely fantastic duel to the end where Rossi just took it. And that by far is my greatest motorsport moment, I have to say. But it wasn't Formula 1, so I do apologise for that if anyone's listening. It wasn't cars, it was bikes. 157 miles an hour down the straight, so 1 mile an hour faster than what he did on his previous attempt down the start-finish straight, as we start another lap. Lap 8 of 66. And once again, safety car around the corner again. This beautiful wide shot really shows you the early apex that they do, and then they feed it out. It runs out wide, sweep it to the left, then bring it right back over to the right-hand side, and you dip under brakes as it just goes over that lip. Heavy under braking for this very tight corner. Again, a late apex on this one, and feed in that power again. A little exuberant though from the safety car, and that back end stepping out a little bit too much. Again, heavy braking now through turns number 7 and 8 as we enter back up the hill. And I guess it's gym time in the Aston Martin garage, as the mechanics stretching, making sure themselves don't pull anything. Oh, of course, it's you have to be incredibly fit to be a pit mechanic. I've got a friend of mine, Dylan. He's actually one of the mechanics. He's one of the pit crew in the Haas team. He's in the Haas garage, and he's part of that. So I see lots of stories from him on his Instagram page, and you know, he's an incredibly fit guy. We worked together for quite a few years back in Milton Keynes. We both marshalled together at a karting track in Milton Keynes, and from there I've gone to talk about racing, and he's gone to actually be a part of it and do that. You know, he worked for Williams at the start of it, and he worked his way through there, and he now is one of the pit crew at the Haas F1 team. So I suspect he's probably here right now, so I'm sure, but he can't hear me. So medical car in the pit lane, and I'm sure, are they making their way back out onto circuit, or are they just slowly making their way through the pit lane? I suspect through the pit lane they go, and back out onto the circuit here. Sunny Catalunya. You can see there the town in the background, and the branding going over the grandstands, as of course I'm sure we're still in a sort of local lockdown area in Spain. I'm not sure what the conditions are, of course, through COVID-19, what they are like in Spain, but of course we didn't see any of them at Portimao, but I'm sure we are going to not see any here at the Circuit de Catalunya, or Circuit de Barcelona de Catalunya. So a big shame then for that year, but of course they've got the brilliant feed that you will be seeing here. That'll be over on all major sporting channels, of course, for your viewing delectation. A brief look at the sector times there for the safety car, and I did see a heaping of a green sector in Sector 2, so clearly pushing the boundaries as the sectors come back up. We're not starting a lap just yet, we're nowhere near the start-finish line. There it goes, that's more like it. So we actually had a purple sector in Sector 1 and a green in Sector 2. He's improved his times, he's actually gone down to a 2:04.6, so while we see a quicker time this time around. So we missed that one, a fastest sector in Sector 1 by the safety car, 34.436 into the final 3 corners. Exiting out, it's a good exit now, but this corner here, it's pretty much flat out in an F1 car. I'm sure it's probably not in this car, but out of the final corner towards the line. What is it as he crosses? It's definitely a lot faster. It's a 2:03.713, nearly a second faster than his previous lap. So an absolutely stellar performance. And is he going for another one, or has he slowed down? It looks to me like he's eased off a bit. Or I could be talking absolute rubbish there, because it looks like he's flat out still. So let's see what it's like through Sector 1. The live speed again appears on your screen. That van's got no chance on the outer perimeter road. Past him he goes. We end Sector 1 entering this corner, and it's half a second slower, so it did look like he eased off there. A little wide as well at the entrance of turn 4, so not going to be able to get on that power as early as he'd like, I'm sure. You see the helicopter in the background as well. Doing some practice laps. Oh, look at that. He's not half pushing it still, is he? That safety car. 100 miles an hour into the braking zone of turn 7, slowing it right down to 60 miles an hour. And then climbing up the hill now. Another double camera there. Now, where that camera's positioned, that looks like it's above ground, and it doesn't look like it's very protected. So I suspect if anyone ran wide there, it would be goodbye camera, unless it's a specific type of rugged outdoor camera. I'm sure you know which one I'm referring to. But they could survive the apocalypse, I'm sure. So I'm sure they'll be absolutely fine there. Kicking out that tyre smoke from the rear of this AMG Mercedes safety car. That one looked hidden, that camera. That looked like it was probably very tucked in the curve, so I suspect that one can't be hit. But out of the chicane, really pushed it through the first half, eased off in the second half, and now is going to go for another one. So this lap will be a lot slower than it was last time around. The start-finish line is there, you can see it, and it crosses the line. And the timer didn't stop, so there we go, time disappears. But we are 1:32. Is it a half-hour test on this one, or is it a little bit longer? Righto. So, here's Gasly. Hear him there, just a message. So, Gasly wanting to pit, or the team wanting him to pit. Another look at the sector times there, 35.007 in Sector 1, 48.408, and I didn't have time to read the last one, so unfortunately didn't see it. But I'm sure it was very quick, nonetheless. So back with the safety car going around now. It comes a time where you have to think about whether or not you're going to have the air conditioning on in that car, because one, it's very hot there, so I suspect air conditioning is a must. But, of course, air conditioning takes out a lot of the power of the car. Not obviously a great deal amount, you know, this can still absolutely demolish it, but I suspect if you turn the AC off, you might get an extra mile an hour or two at the end of the start-finish straight. Could be talking complete rubbish there, but I'm sure it's the case. So, let's see. Let's go on board. Can anyone hear me who's operating the cameras? Can we go on board? Can we see if the air conditioning's on? There we go. That would be good, wouldn't it? You can see there through the final few corners. Slowing right down there. Is he coming into the pit lane? He is indeed. So diving into the pit lane comes the safety car here at Catalunya. Medical car still out on circuit at the moment. That's just medical car number 2, you can see there. But a great running there, you can see these aerial views. This is from the cable camera, you can see. Yeah, I'd be curious to know what's on that clipboard. I'd be very curious to know what's on that clipboard. What could he possibly be writing on that clipboard? Here is a practice pit stop then for the Aston Martin team. A great running there, and you can just see there the speed, momentum, and the strength that this team has got and the mechanics have got. And like you say, it just shows that you need to be incredibly fit even to be in the pit crew of one of these, let alone a driver. These drivers can go through a fair chunk of weight loss in one of these races. You know, they can lose quite a few stones in just sweating it out at the end of the race, especially the temperatures. So, and it happens in all sorts of types of motorsport as well. So my friend Ross, who races in with Aston Martin in the Le Mans series, he say last year at the 24-hour when he was racing, he said you know, he lost loads of weight in his stint. So you have to stay incredibly hydrated, and especially in these hot conditions, it's imperative that you stay hydrated, and it's very important for these drivers, and it just shows you that the fatigue that they go through over a race weekend. So I suspect if you're Kimi Räikkönen, an ice cream is not very far behind, and I suspect they're a good way to keep yourself cool in these warm conditions. Here is back with the medical car, laying those lines down on the circuit on a lap at the moment, which doesn't look like it's going to be a quick one, because we're exiting sector 2 at the moment, and we've had 2 yellow sectors, sector 1 and 2, and we're looking not the quickest through the final few corners out of the RACC chicane onto the start-finish straight. Alex van der Garde at the wheel of that medical car crosses the line, and 8.5 seconds a lap slower. 2:13.372 then from the medical car as they head down again the start-finish straight. The lap timer seems to have stopped, so it's we're not lap 8. I'm sure we've done a lot more laps than 8 laps in at this time, or I could be completely wrong. We could be on 8 laps, and I've just not been paying attention enough to note what lap it is. It's very handy when you've got those graphics up on the screen. It tells you a lot of information that you need, and it's always handy. As someone who talks on racing, you always have to trust the data that you've got in front of you, the lap data and lap times, sector times, everything like that. Everything that you can see there is full of information, and you can get away with rambling through anything. They've made quite a bit of progress on that banner on the gantry. It was all wrapped up a couple of laps ago, but they've stretched that out now to quite a way. I've always wondered how they do that. So just clearly just a big vinyl sheet, and they cover the grandstands for it. So through turns number 9, back onto the back straight. You can see there the Pirelli side markers there indicating how far away you are from the corner, and I'm sure a helping hand to the drivers of where their braking zones are. Because of course with tracks they change regularly, they relay tarmac and everything like that, so that's why you would see a lot of the drivers doing track walks before a race weekend or during a race weekend, and because they would like to see, if or not, their braking marker that they usually go for, or what they went for last year, has moved, disappeared, or is still there. So it could always change throughout the years, and of course running different layouts and different tracks, of course, with Portimao, the Circuit de Algarve. It's only the second time that we've raced there in modern F1 era, of course, last year and this year. And of course, that's a completely new track to all of these drivers. We go on board with the safety car, just exiting out of turns 4 down the hill into the tight hairpin of turn 5. Yeah. A lot calmer, the back end not stepping out. Now, there's a house there. Oh, sure. Does someone live in that house, or is that just a house that's somewhere in the centre of this this track? If it is someone's house, running a little bit wide. The exit of turn 9 there. Getting it back on the straight and narrow. Down the back straight. Where's we braking? We're braking probably around the 120 metre mark from the hairpin here. Obviously using the wider hairpin than usual. I'm pretty sure in some previous years we've used the tighter hairpin there, but I can't recall it. Oh, that looks very familiar there. Through the stadium section here with all those grandstands there at the edge of the circuit, the sort of bowl section through turns 12. And I'm going to say track limits, I think, for the safety car. That was a bit cheeky, that was. Completely missing the circuit. I'm sure the race stewards will be keeping a very close eye on that one and saying, something tells me that this lap that you're about to start will be null and void. Possibly. I know it is on the F1 2020 game. If you did that in the F1 2020 game, it would disable that time and do it. Here's a replay of what just happened there, so you can just see. Just thought, no, I'm not going to take the chicane the normal way. I'm going to cheat and completely miss the apexes. That's exactly what went through the head. You see the kick up of the dust and sand on this really dirty part of the circuit. Of course, you can see there all the marbles and dust and grime on that part, which just shows how dusty and dirty it is off the racetrack and how lovely and clean the racetrack itself is. So, yeah, I suspect this lap time will not be the cleanest, seeing as they didn't exit the penultimate corner correctly. So, but the timer still ticks on. Again, 60 miles an hour through turns 7, squeezing that power back on. So I was just trying to look for this camera as well, but we went on with them. So it definitely looks like it looked like that would be poking out of the ground. So whether or not that camera's there still by the end of this weekend, yet to be seen. Down the back straight then, in towards turn 10. And 7.86 seconds a lap slower than his previous fastest time for the safety car. So you can see there. Still a beautiful car though, this. I'd very much enjoy having one of these, but I suspect to be quite expensive, so I'll stick with my Peugeot 107 for the time being. It's a lot cheaper, more cost effective, and probably still just as fun around a racetrack, because you could push a little bit harder. You just have to watch out because the tyres are a lot thinner and it's a lot slower. There we go. So across the line, 9 seconds a lap slower and a 2:14.433 from the safety car that time around. And it looks like they've got that gantry board going now as well. So of it going well. There's the sector times then, 34, 47 and 42 seconds. There's the escape road that we're talking about. If you ran too wide, very dusty off line there, so of course drivers will have to watch out of that post exit turn 3 if they exit out of there, because of course on the slick tyres that would be a lot slippier than you may think, as we saw it from Alex Albon last year at Qatar. You saw him exit out of the final corner, ran wide onto that dusty part, kept his foot in it, and the rear tyres lit up and it sent him barreling into the wall. Thankfully he was okay, but again, of course, it just shows how slippery off-track is if you're running slick tyres, and we're not running slick tyres on this car. You can see there the treaded tyres. You can see hear the helicopter whizzing overhead, and safety car apparently started 5th and now finished 1st. Magic that's caused that, seeing as there was only 2 cars out on track. So, on the cool down time here, you can see time remaining 22 minutes. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, if my brain serves me correctly, a Grand Prix race can only be a maximum of 2 hours long. Am I right in saying that? I think I'm correct in saying that, yes. So, and of course, missing the braking zone there and taking to the MotoGP layout. Well, they used to run that as MotoGP, but I do remember, I think a couple of years back, that there was a horrible accident there at that corner involving a Moto2 rider. I can't remember the poor chap's name, but yes, he had a very big crash there. And they did not run that part of the circuit, of course, because he did sadly pass away in that one, so that was a big shame in Moto2 at that corner. But of course, they then ran not the F1 layout, they used the shorter chicane, so the one that's a little further up from the one that F1 uses. So they used that one for MotoGP. The family of the team, the rider, said that we're more than happy to go on. Sorry, what did you say there, Luke? Okay, so